Greetings, and welcome to The Thirsty Mage, the podcast with mixed feelings following a rather lackluster E3 season. I'm your host, David Lloyd, and this episode we focus on the recent Nintendo Partner Mini Direct, and we're going to take a look to see what gems are tucked away for RPG fans. Joining me is someone who's ready to inject another Dragon Quest game into his veins. It's Casey Gibson.
Oh, it looks so good. It looks so good. I'd say overall, though, for RPG fans, a pretty good little mini direct.
Yeah, there's a little something for everyone, as they, I think they might have said in the direct.
They definitely coined that, because I'm pretty sure I said that on Talk Nintendo yesterday.
Yeah, and also joining us is someone who probably doesn't need any more announcements as she's trying to cram in as many video games as possible over the next couple months. It's Paige Chamberlain.
The amount of games that were like, oh, we're coming in October, and I'm just like, well, it's battle of which one gets my attention in between other things.
Well, you'll have to have a game, one of those games set up too for afterwards when you're up at like 3 a.m. and you need a distraction.
Well, that's why the Switch is good.
Yeah,
and I think it's for at least a month or two, babies can't see more than like 30 centimeters in front of their face, so I'll be able to play games without messing with its eyes.
Oh, I was going to say, you're going to have to hold the Switch super close to its face then, so it can see all that good RPG goodness.
Yeah. I watched through the prequels and originals of Star Wars all back to back with both kids, actually.
Mm-hmm.
How many years apart are they?
18 months apart.
Oh, man, so you did. That's a marathon right there, back to back.
Yeah, it was probably six days in a row, too, because it's early on. There's a lot of, the baby's up. All right, get up. It's like 2 a.m.
I'll restart watching episode 4.
Yeah, I'll just throw episode 4 up on the television. We'll just start rocking in the chair and enjoy.
Are they Star Wars fans?
I wouldn't.
Not
they've
particular.
seen it, but I wouldn't call them fans per se.
You got to play it before they come out, because they can hear things, so you need to.
Well, I was going to say you were subconsciously just like injecting them with Star Wars goodness, by osmosis, I guess.
Yeah. So what Paige is saying is that currently she's playing her Switch while it's propped on her stomach, with the speakers on full blast.
Yeah,
got the Shimamura.
Well, I was going to say, so many good RPG soundtracks to lullaby a baby to.
If you pick up Xenoblade, I assume it's Mitsuda again. I don't know for sure, but
it still has not clicked with me that Xenoblade 3 is that, like, it's so close.
Yeah, well,
you know
a month today.
Yeah, I guess, as I was alluding to before we were recording with moving and stuff, and then wedding before that, I feel like I've just been stressed for like the last 2 months, So it's like everything's been like, I haven't looked forward far enough. And then, I guess the pros of that is Xenoblade's right around the corner, and it's not me sitting around jonesing for it, Like, so I feel like I haven't had that in a while, where like a game was truly just like you couldn't contain yourself waiting for it.
It's gonna feel like a big reward when you finally get it. You'll be like, all the crap I had to trudge through, and all the stress and anxiety, and then it's just
Xenoblade 3
relief.
But it's funny because I've been playing some really good games. I've been playing, Ys 9 is awesome. I'm still working through that, and Returnal, and just I feel like every game I've been playing lately has been really good. But maybe it's just because it's like anything to take my mind off life.
Yeah, that's right. How about you, Pager? Are you trying to cram get some backlog out of the way before the baby comes along, or is it just trying to get all the new stuff just keeping you busy enough?
Well, trying to work on. I've got a bunch of overdue reviews for my own YouTube, so it's like get all those done before the baby comes.
Yeah, otherwise it might be 2 years down the road.
Yeah, so unfortunately, a couple of those are horror games, so I'm not really supposed to play that. But
my dad used to
being slack.
My dad used to do that when I was younger. He'd be like, "Hey, Casey, Chucky's on," and I'd be like, "Ooh, Rugrats," and I'd run out and it'd be the little killer doll.
Oh man.
Yeah. I
That's
definitely
me.
had nightmares of that one. Thanks,
Well,
Dad.
yeah, I have to do that now. The last Sony State of Play. So the kids are watching, and I think that the last one was the one that had like all the Resident Evil, and then
Mm.
there was like Dead Space sequel
Oh
or
yeah,
whatever, and
that Klexko or something. The other
yeah,
one that looks like Dead Space.
yeah. It seemed like every other game I was telling the kids like, okay, don't look at the screen,
Earmuffs.
put your earmuffs, don't look at it.
Now, are you that like? When can they play a scary? Like if one of your, how old are they again? I mean, I know they're young.
Yeah, 11 and 9. So
Okay, 11. That's encroaching Resident Evil territory, I'd say. Like when he's
yeah,
13, 14, you're gonna let him play a little Resident Evil.
yeah, if he wants. Like I don't play Resident Evil, so
Yeah, he's hey Dad,
Depends
I
how
want Resident
sensitive
Evil. You're like,
it is.
"Yeah, all right, I'll be in the other room.
yeah. He'll be at school telling his friends about Lady Demistry or whatever her name is,
Yeah.
and the
Well,
kids will be like, "Your parents let you play that?" And like, my dad's a suck. He doesn't play these Resident Evil games.
he doesn't even
He's
know
a
about
baby.
her. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, yeah, maybe I remember for me, just Resident Evil's like my neighbors had them, and I would be afraid. Like I remember sleeping over their house, and just like the game case was on the floor, and like I'd be like, oh my god, so scary. But I think that's why I like them so much. You know, like I was so afraid of them younger that like now it's like now I just feed into it.
there was some kind of demon game that I was playing like recently. I can't think of what it is now, but it was like one of the like a Persona type game where there was like demons on screen or something, and I think my daughter came down and she's like, ah, and she's like, how do you play this before bed, Dad? And I'm like,
This is nothing. Yeah.
yeah, this is a JRPG. This is par for the
Yeah.
course. This is nothing. I'm been desensitized to this.
I did the same thing as your daughter to my brother when he played Resident Evil 2 on the N64. It was like, I mean, it might not have been midnight, but it was probably like 11:30 at night. And I was like, Brett, you are out of your mind. I am going to bed, sir.
Oh, I wish I could remember what game it was. It wasn't even that
That's scary.
scary of a game, but it was something to do with demons.
All it needs is, yeah, I guess as a little one, right? Demons in general, like you hear the word demon and it's sort of ingrained to be scary, you know?
It's the zombie games that get me. I'm not a big fan of those. I had to push through Last of Us 2, and I got annoyed whenever there was. So it would kind of like you go into a section and you'd have like the zombie type enemies, and then you go into a section and it would be like the other faction of humans. And
you're
I'd
like,
be so glad. I'd be like, I get to shoot the humans. Woohoo! I've had enough of these damn zombies jumping out of freaking nowhere trying to bite my head off. I was like, I'll shoot a few humans. Thank you very much.
See, it's funny nowadays, and I guess as we continue to yap on about scary games on a Nintendo Direct episode here, but see, I find like the psychological stuff, like Silent Hill, to me is way scarier than Resident Evil. Like, oh, I remember playing Silent Hill. At this point, it was in 2012. It was a decade ago, but at that point, I was like 22. I remember being scared. I need new drawers after playing that game, man. Woo! Just so freaky. Like you go into the school and then all of a sudden the floor's great, and oh god, that game's scary.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? It might have been Diablo Immortal I was playing actually.
Well, then she might have just been afraid for your wallet.
Yeah.
No, Dad.
my college tuition.
I want to eat dinner.
It's macaroni this week.
It's actually fun. Yeah. Butter noodles again, Dad. It's funny actually. I was reading, or I was listening to YouTube. Apparently, like the $100,000 was the like, oh, you need $100,000 to max out your character, but apparently there's an Uber whale mechanic after that point where you unlock another thing that lets and now they're guesstimating a $500,000.
Oh, just sell your house and you'll get the fancy character on your mobile game.
Yeah, huh? Did you say your hair?
House.
Oh, I was well. I don't have one of those either. So
there are a couple livers.
Yeah.
Liver to kidney. Oh man.
But
Well,
yes.
So the direct.
we'll transition from the piranhas at Blizzard onto the folks at Nintendo, and we're going to talk about. I guess we did an episode. I guess it was on the State of Play recently, a couple weeks ago. We're kind of in E3 season, I guess you call it. We didn't really do anything on like what was supposed to replace E3, which is I don't even remember what it was called, but the Jeff Keighley Summer Games Fest or something, whatever they call it.
I heard that was a real stinker.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is like I don't remember anything being announced that I was even remotely, interested in. It just seemed like stuff I've already knew about or something, and it never bodes well when beforehand they're like, yeah, everyone should temper their expectations.
The one good thing of that was that they announced the Turtles game was coming a week after the presentation.
That's right.
Yeah, I remember I didn't watch it, but I know, I saw some reaction from people who generally, they're Keighley fans, and they're like, this was just, it felt unnecessary, and maybe since it's the first year, they got to iron out the kinks or whatever. But at the end of the day, now it's just with Nintendo Direct, State of Play, like these companies can do their own thing. They don't need a game show or a big conference like that, and I think the Game Awards are all right. I mean, again, the only reason we watch them, right? Because there's going to be at least at least one or two like hype moments of a reveal. But the worst thing with that is like half the time they just brush over like the more interesting awards anyway. Like, best JRPG. They did it in a commercial break. It's like.
Yeah, they take so long with the ads, and then like they go through 3 different categories in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, they're like, congratulations to so and so for this and that. All right. World premiere.
Yeah, that's right. Let's get to the paying ads.
Yep, yeah. But yeah, no.
Well, even
it is
this
sad
year
that there was no true E3. It was missed, even though I know everyone sort of has been sort of doing their own thing, in the E3 vein, but
it just
I
seems
hope
like
it comes
this year
back.
was a write-off because everything's so behind. Like, it's basically like every game that was announced last year has been delayed to next year. So it's like all of last year's E3 announcements we're still waiting on. So it's like, well, you can't really start announcing stuff when you haven't even released the stuff you announced last year. So it's it's almost like a write-off.
Lag is real.
Well, we talked about, I think, at the end of the State of Play video was that like I wasn't sure there was going to be a Nintendo Direct because like Nintendo's own games are pretty well covered for the next couple months. So what we got instead was a Xenoblade Direct and a partner showcase. So it was
Yeah. So you called it basically. Yeah.
Well, no, because we did get 2 Directs. It just weren't the regular Direct.
Yeah, that's right.
I tell you what, though, I mean, obviously we're going to get knee deep in all the games sort of shown off here, but it was a pretty good Direct. I know a lot of them are sort of ports, right? But they're like big time ports coming to the Switch, and we got some new stuff too. But overall, it wasn't like an oh my god, this was like knocking my socks off or anything. But overall, I mean, there are a bunch of games like that look really good.
Yeah, I would think if you're like a Nintendo Switch only owner, like if you don't have a PlayStation or a PC or whatever. I think this was a big deal. I think this is a really big deal for those folks.
I can agree. Yep, for sure.
Yeah. And then, well, even then, and a couple of the, again, for the, if you already own a PlayStation and stuff, like some of the hype kind of got taken over because some of the announcements are just like re-announcements basically, like at the very end and stuff. Talk about that. But how about you, Paige? What was your overall impression of this partner direct?
Well, because it wasn't live, it was a bit, I didn't like it as much as normal because people are already posting everything. I kept refreshing their YouTube page and it wasn't on there, but then I went to like the American Twitter and then they had a link that worked, so I was like a minute behind on everyone. But yeah, it's not live, so you didn't get the experience of like people live tweeting it and being surprised by things together. And then working like I was did some of the news posts on RPG site. Basically, as soon as the video went up, someone just posted a list of all the games that were listed. So aside from the things that we'd never heard of before, nothing was a surprise to me because I looked at that list.
Well, whose fault?
I didn't do anything. So it was more just like Like, I mean, I'm sure it's more convenient for the people that have to do posts, but like that, and companies were posting their announcements like a minute before the direct actually went up and stuff.
Or 12 hours like Ubisoft.
Yeah. So like the content was good. I did know about some of the things as well. Like there was a couple, like I knew a couple of not all of the Square Enix things. There was like something I never heard of before, but I knew about Nia, and I knew that they were going to talk about Dragon Quest Treasures here. I was actually expecting more Square Enix things because there's still some stuff they're working on that's supposedly coming out this year or later.
Jordan's gonna owe me that beer. I'm telling you right now. There's no way those are coming.
You should have made it like $100 bet.
Yeah,
a case of beer at least.
Yeah. Well, it might. I was actually looking into it, and there might be some laws against transporting beer over provincial lines, so you might have to send me a gift card for some beer over here. But I'm fairly confident. I'm like 95% confident.
You're gonna pay that luxury tax on your imported alcohol.
Yeah. Importing within the same country. It's funny. I actually forgot that there was a direct. I think it went live at 9, and I think at like 10 after 9, I was like, "Oh right, there's a direct today." So I went to the YouTube channel and I clicked on the video, and then I noticed it's like 26 minutes long, and I'm like, "How did they know how?" Like, I'm thinking like it's live. Like, how do they know when it's ending? And then I started dragging the thing, and I'm like, "Oh, this is different.
It ain't live at all."
Yeah, it took me a minute I like went all the way to the end, and I'm like, "Oh, this isn't live." So that was that's the other thing too, is like, so I knew that the first game was Sunbreak.
Yeah.
And I'm not really interested in Monster Hunter, so I just zoomed right ahead of it, or like right to the end, and I'm like, okay, here's the next one. And then I watched a bit, but then I found myself like when I was getting bored, I would just like jump past stuff, and I'm like, that kind of takes away like half the fun.
I still made myself watch.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch till later in the afternoon because of work, and I started watching, and I didn't skip ahead, but right in the middle of it, I was like so tired, and it was I forgot what game. It was Return to Monkey Island, and I was like, my eyes were like I was starting to fall asleep, and I was like, I put it on pause, and then I took a 20-minute nap with my dog, and then I woke back up and watched the rest. But it definitely doesn't have the same vibe as a stream. But I guess, Nintendo is probably really doing their best to temper expectations, right? I mean, hey, I'm a sucker too. It's like, oh, are we going to see Bayonetta 3? And then you get all this hype, but they're like, hey, this is a mini direct. Temper expectations,
This 25 minutes though for mini.
I don't think that was an unreasonable expectation, because it said Partners Direct, which meant it could be second party stuff. And for example, Nintendo's publishing Live Alive, even though it's a Square Enix game, so it's not. Yeah, I don't think it was
But I agree. But when they say it's a mini direct and then it's a pre-recorded thing, not a stream. I mean, obviously the streams are pre-recorded too. But you know what I mean? Like they just dump a video. Like to me, that was like, oh yeah, there's going to be no Bayonetta 3 here because if people would just scroll ahead, find it, and then like, oh, there it is. That would be one I feel like would be on a true direct. But I feel like they were just sort of doing sort of subtle things to be like, hey, temper those expectations.
There was one thing that I didn't notice until it was pointed out, and then I was like, oh yeah, and is that they don't have like people as often in the direct. Like there isn't like somebody who's like kind of hosting the direct. Like they don't have that person, whether it's like a marketing person or someone at Nintendo, like Doug Bowser's not going out there and like introducing games. They're not doing like little things in between. It's just literally trailer after trailer, one after another. And I was like, as soon as you say that, it's like I kind of wish they did do like funny fun transitions or better or stuff like that.
I mean, they do have people in some of the normal directs, but I think since like Owada died, there hasn't really been as much fun stuff in the directs when they do have people there. Like you think back to some E3s and you've got like Star Fox puppets and things like that.
Oh my, that was so fun. Like, the robot chicken, right?
Yeah, robot chicken and like.
Yeah, I miss that weird, quirky Nintendo, and Iwata was the best, man. Ugh. Gone too soon, that is absolutely for sure.
I guess we'll hop into the games. I think we'll go into the order of when they were actually shown. We'll stay in the order of the direct itself. And so, like I said a moment ago, I'm not a huge Monster Hunter fan, but I know Paige is for sure, and I'm pretty sure. I don't know if Casey, if you picked up Rise, but I know you were at least a Monster Hunter fan beforehand.
Yeah, I actually got Rise pretty recently, and I played through the main campaign. This is one of those things, it's like, I played 4 on... I got 3 a long time ago, and I didn't play a ton of it. I put it, I think 60 hours plus into 4. Then I played Ultimate, but not for as long, and it's one of those I like to jump in, but it hasn't gotten, as deep as that first experience. But Rise is really fun, and this expansion looks legit for sure.
Yeah, so they showed, they're just doing, because, it's actually released today in Australia, but they've, it's it's just about to come out, so they're doing their trailer, and they showed off some of the post-launch updates, because they've done, a little bit of a map, but this time they actually showed that the Bagel Goose is going to be one of the post-update monsters to come.
I mean, it looks super good. Did you play this? You didn't play this at all, I'm assuming, David?
No. The only Monster Hunter I've really played is I think you and I played some Generations. I think was the one the one on Switch, the right before Rise. I think it was Generations
Ultimate.
Yeah,
maybe. Oh, did we get our codes for that? I forget.
I think so. I think we did some kind of snow boss or something. So I played that one for a couple hours with you, and then I got Monster Hunter World, I guess it is the one on PC.
Oh, that's part of it. Yeah, they do that for freebie, I think, on Xbox, right?
Yeah. Well, I got it for free with my graphics card. I can't even remember what it was, but it was buy this graphics card and you can get Monster Hunter World for free. And I'm like, well, this isn't a selling point, but I'll take a free game, thank you.
Well, you're just lucky you could get a graphics card at that point.
Yeah, it was right before the big boom, so I was lucky to get it. But so I played a little bit of Monster Hunter World on PC, which I preferred that over Generations, just because it felt a little Generations felt kind of slow and clunky to me, whereas World actually felt a bit better. But it's still I've never really been a big fan of. It's kind of the reminds me of Dark Souls or
Demon Souls,
Elden Ring kind of combat, where it's not I'm used to kind of killing with speed, but these are more of a methodical
maybe dual swords or something, one of the fast weapons.
Yeah. Well, Rise is definitely faster paced, because I forget what they call it, but you get what was that?
Wire bugs and the silk bind attacks.
Yeah, yep, that's it. Yeah, so you could really zip around, because sometimes if a monster knocks you down and sort of starts moving the other way, it's you're playing catch up. But with those things, you could sort of whip around pretty quick, and it makes the combat more fluid and fast paced. So this might be more up your alley, but I wonder. They probably will, right? I'm assuming that Rise will be discounted at some point. And then
I checked, I don't know about it now, but I'm pretty sure it was on the eShop, discounted on the American eShop.
Yeah, it would make sense. So, and then there was a
European eShop e-sale a couple of weeks ago, so that was discounted then, and I think it might currently still be discounted on the American eShop, although I don't know about once Sunbreak is actually launched.
Yeah, and then I saw they were releasing, you could get sort of upgraded armor and weapon to sort of get you through that base game quicker, so you could be sort of with everyone else. Because I've noticed this kind of game, right? It's almost like an MMO feeling, of where the best time to play it is when everyone's playing it. Because like,
Yeah.
you could go online, you can get into rooms easily with other hunters, or, ideally, right, you've got a couple friends and that's something you can, jump on Discord and you can sort of hang out and go hunting together. And I feel like that's really when the game shines, when you've got that co-op, like, hey, we're going out together, this is what we're going to do, and you sort of plan it and go have a good time at it.
Yeah, it certainly seems like a good social game. Like, less so. Well, I'm sure people enjoy it solo, but it seems like a game that's probably more enjoyable with friends.
I've got my Malzeno Pro Controller ready to pick up, even though I'm pretty much going to play it handheld because, one of us is on the TV and one of us is sitting next to them in handheld. I think we mostly play a local connection, so we don't have random people coming into the room. And, like, even people that deliberately come into the room to help you often get, like, annoyed if you're doing any of the non-key quests, because you've got, like, quests that actually unlock to the next rank, and, like, other ones you can just do. And they don't.
Yeah, so they're like, "What the heck? You're wasting my time." And you're like, "Well, you joined my room, you picklehead."
Yeah, like I'm fashion hunting over here. I have gargoyle hats to wear. Like,
now, Paige, did you pre-order Sunbreak, or are you picking it up today or / tomorrow?
Pre-ordered it. Was gonna like they're doing like the physical is just Rise plus the code, so because I can get it cheaper. That like I'm like trading in the copy of Rise, and then be like it sort of saves a little bit of money. And then if you had,
because it's like $30 or $40, right? The expansion.
The expansion is $60 Australian.
Holy!
But the bundle pack is like $90 Australian. So aside from when Rise has gone on sale, that if you haven't bought Rise at all, that would be the way to pay for it. That'd be like the cheapest, like because then you're only getting Rise for like 30. But yeah,
in America it is $39.99 for Sunbreak. Now they did say, and you have to have the base game to be able to play it. So,
yes.
But they did say it is a massive expansion. So I feel like usually these games you sort of get your money's worth. Like they're not going to sort of shortchange you, but it is definitely, that's a hefty price.
Yeah. But
they took like 4 of the 25 minutes too on this to start out as well.
Yeah, definitely priority for them, I'd imagine. Rise sold pretty good, so it would make sense
and
that they put a
Rise
focus
is
on
on PC as well, so I guess I think Sunbreak is also on PC, like at the same time launch. They're not doing that thing where they did with the World, where the PC version was constantly behind. I think it's dropping the same day as well.
It would make sense, yeah.
The save data doesn't transfer, so we didn't like switch to PC. Although, like, we were like, oh, we've got to finish Rise before Sunbreak's come out, and we didn't do that at all. But, the point is, if we just play a bit together, it doesn't matter if we're caught up, because we just play together. We don't need to... We're not part of some group. It's not like actually an MMO where we need to be up to the end content with everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess we'll move on to the next game in the list, which was Nier. They call it Automata, I think, in the direct. I've always known it as Automata, but
yeah, well, I call it Automata because automaton. So
yeah,
a robot. Like, that's what it's from.
Yeah, I guess I go Nier Automata.
Yeah.
Automata.
I'll
just call it Nier.
Square don't care as long as they got your money. So
yep.
Yeah. So this is the I guess the biggest surprise to me on this one was that it appears to be natively played on the Switch. So it's, I guess, impressive they were able to port it. Reading that it's going to be 30 FPS on the game, which I would need to see to believe, because there's a few of those boss fights where there's a lot going on. Just the way, like, some of the attacks, like, they kind of shoot out multiple, like, orbs. Like, a lot of the bullets are like these energy orbs, and a couple of the bosses, like, you're talking about hundreds of these orbs on the screen and stuff.
It's like a bullet hell.
Yeah, so I have a hard time believing that it's going to stay 30 FPS. Like, unless the game is, like, extremely low fidelity. I don't know. Like it just I don't know. Like I'm sure it'll run fine. They get games on there, but it's just
No.
it'll
It's
at
not
least
cloud.
be it'll at least be not as it won't look as good for sure anyway on the PS4. But again, like if you're a Nintendo only person or portable only or whatever, I think this is a terrific game. Like if you haven't played it, it's definitely like a game worth playing in your lifetime sort of thing. So
I was
good that
saying
it's there.
that like there's new costumes, like there needs to be saved data bonuses. Like I need, because there was in the Voice of Cards games there was new costume DLC, so I need like Voice of Card character costume DLC.
Yeah. that could be coming. That'd be hilarious.
Just make it look like Ma or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad again. Like I actually picked this one up a while ago on PS4, for PS5, whatever. For like $15 at GameStop. So it is one of those I'm waiting for the right time, right? Like, there's just so many damn games. So I won't be getting this on the Switch because, and I don't want to say don't get it on the Switch, but like if you have the means, like a PS4, you can get it dirt cheap instead of $60.
I think it's free, isn't it? Like I thought it was one of the games that were free in the if it's in or it's in the PlayStation like extra collection or something. Like I was sure that it was more or less free somewhere in that PlayStation catalog somewhere. But like and then you picked up for $15 and I still think you can
free or dirt cheap, yeah.
Yeah, like you can get it for dirt cheap on PlayStation. So yeah, it's definitely a better experience there. But like I said, if you need it portable or if you need it on Switch because you have no other way, then it's definitely worth getting. It's kind of like The Witcher, I guess. Like it's the worst possible way to play it is on Switch, but I mean, it's better than not playing.
Yeah, the worst possible way is still better than not.
Yeah.
I always see things like people, not everyone owns all the systems, things like that. So it's always good to put them on more things. And someone made comments like, "Oh, nobody buys a Switch for sports games or for these ports," and I'm like, I literally once saw somebody buy a Switch Lite, and then the games they bought were Mortal Kombat, AFL, PGA. Like it was literally just sports games and ports.
Yeah,
the
sports bro getting the Switch, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, sport games are great, and that's why I think with like. Side note, with the show, right, to have the cross progression is huge. I think any sports game, like if they're going to put on the Switch, just get cross progression, because then people don't care. It's like if you have to play like a sort of poopy version, like, oh, but I could play it on my lunch break or on my travel.
Just don't get the FIFAs because they're the Legacy Edition, and then it's like which is literally
dude, EA just stinks.
Like it's literally like, oh, didn't EA lose the FIFA rights now?
So I hope they did. EA's been their sports games.
Yeah.
They've been sailing it in, for freaking.
Yeah, you pick up the Switch and it's like Legacy, which means they've just updated the teams basically. And then you pick up the year before it, and it's Legacy. So it's like 3 or 4 years behind on the Switch of just being not like sports games are always the same, but it's like it's literally the one from 4 years ago, but just slightly updated.
And then they're like, but we also reset the mechanic where you have to collect cards, so you got to give us more money.
Yeah, EA's been coasting huge. Like even in the NHL, it's like you could play this year's version or 4 years ago version, and I bet you couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah, I used to get Madden all the time, like every year, and now it's like, I think I got it last year when I got the PS5, because I was like, ooh, but yeah, they stink, dude.
All right. So yeah, FIFA 23 will be the last EA Sports FIFA title, as EA and FIFA went their separate ways after failing to agree on terms of a renewed contract, and EA is now forbidden to use any FIFA branding.
Hey, well, and that's why like the MLB the Show is so good. It's because it's not EA. But it's like, you know what I mean? I feel like EA is just coasted on all their sports games, and then you get all these other companies making like different games that are good.
I get interested in them, and then I'll just see the comments from people that are fans of it complaining about the new one being bad. So I'm just like, oh, maybe I should go
next time.
Yeah. Like there's kids that pick up the $1 copies of a 10-year-old FIFA game and be like, yeah.
Yeah, you probably have a better experience, honestly. You wouldn't get the microtransactions to
I
buy
don't know.
more
Yeah,
packs
maybe
of
if you
cards.
go far back enough, that won't have any online stuff.
It'd be interesting to see who picks up that license, because I'd imagine
2K's got to be foaming at the bit, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
hey,
or
let's go.
even like Sony or Xbox as like a parent company being like, okay, we're gonna buy this and we're gonna find someone to do it. You know?
Yeah, I guess that's with the show, right? Is PlayStation Studios?
Yeah.
Is it Santa Monica?
Yeah,
No.
or San Diego Studios or
Maybe
something like
San
that.
Diego. I think it's a
Then why is it on
California-based one.
Switch?
And Xbox too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But next up, we got Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. So this is a yeah.
Puzzle.
It looks cool, but it is just
It looks-
totally like I
it
always
looks
say,
like
I'm too
Killer-
dumb for these
looks like-
puzzle games.
Killer 7 visuals or something. Like
Yeah,
the-
it almost
the-
or like Alex was saying, sort of like a No More Heroes vibe, a little bit like that.
yeah. So the pseudo
that-
games, like the same.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
the
potato,
same
potato.
brand,
Yeah.
but not the same brand. But like that's like people have just been comparing it to different like Grasshopper manufacture games, and I'm like, yeah, I don't like puzzle games at all. But
Yeah,
visually, it
I'm
looks
too
cool.
dumb.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
If I wanted to look up a guide, I'd just watch it on YouTube.
I'm trying to remember there was this one indie company that made these 2 games, and they were kind of like a 2D puzzle, kind of not horror, but it was kind of horror-esque.
Little Nightmares.
No, they were very short names, and I think they were both. I ended up reviewing them, but I can't remember
Were they
their
NISA
names because they're.
published, or
Sorry,
were they NISA published, or
I don't think so. I'm trying to and I'm pretty sure the second one was like black and white. I remember how it ends. It's like this like
Limbo.
yes, I think that's it. Limbo.
Limbo's the first one, I think.
Yes. Okay, and then the second one was the one I really liked.
It's the silhouette, right? It's like a silhouette game almost.
Yeah.
It's really cool looking.
Okay, that's it. Yeah. So Limbo and Playdead is the developer. So what's the other game called? Because it's the second game that I really liked. Inside. That's it. See that like Inside was good, but there's these types of games are so few and far between. Like they can be such misses, and you get so few hits where it's like. So I tend to stay out of them unless I know like it's good for sure.
A good
but
one. Yeah.
But Inside, I actually reviewed when it first came out, and
but those were
it was
more
good.
like puzzle platformers, right? Like I
Yes.
feel like like because this one seemed more like actual puzzles.
Yeah,
you know, like and more just adventure games. I can't do it. I can't do them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I know that it's probably like that probably excited a bunch of people, but I'm not one of them.
Yeah. Anyone here a Super Bomber fan?
I do like Super Bomberman, but I bought the first one right when it came out right around launch.
It was a launch title. It was Breath of the Wild,
$60.
1, 2 Switch.
One of the few launch titles.
Breath of the Wild, 1, 2 Switch. Super Bomberman R. I think Just Dance and Skylanders may have also
Fast
been.
RMX, baby, that was the best one. That game is still incredible.
Yeah.
I remember when the eShop had like maybe 10 games on it. Those were the days.
Room in the Night Sky.
Yeah, that one.
I reviewed that. That was one of my earliest Nintendo World Report reviews.
Yeah, so I just thought it was funny. Like they're both like so next year. Which one's first, Breath of the Wild 2 or Super Bomberman R2? I know they. I don't know if they said they were shutting it down. I'm going to double check. Because they did Super Bomberman R, and then they made like an online battle royale version of it.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's weird. Like I said, I like Bomberman gameplay. I like it a lot, but it really depends because it can't be a $60 game.
Yeah, so Super Bomberman R Online is ending.
Oh, so this is probably going to take the mantle.
Yeah, so it'll be no longer playable as of December 1st, which is just like 18 months after they opened the platform. Opened that version of the game.
We're shutting down your online game. Give us $60 if you want to play it again. Yeah.
So I'm thinking someone said something about the like I like Bomberman, but I don't really play it much. About the new castle mode. So I think maybe that was on the online version, where you're like building defenses and trying to maybe it's sort of like the way
like a
they're saying
cast,
it. Yeah.
tower defense.
Yeah, like it seems like if it was team based, it must be sort of like a capture the flag kind of thing. Like you're trying to get to the other team's treasure.
Yeah, here. So I'm looking. Get the key, take the treasure. So I guess that's the idea. And and I see like you could build your own sort of fortress walls around it, base building, exploration, defense.
I think
strategy.
playing versus got too hectic with because if you're a ghost, you can bomb the other person. If you bomb the other person, you get back in the game. So it was just always like
the gulag.
No one was ever getting anywhere. and I was saying we need to have Super Bomberman 64 on the Switch expansion pack.
Oh, that would be cool. To me, Bomberman's a classic game, right? Like, and I'm glad it's coming, but this would be one maybe I'll keep an eye on it and see if it ever goes on sale or something. But I can't, like I said, if they're gonna try and say, "Hey, this is a $60 game," it's like no dice for me.
Not for me.
Version like deals like so there was a bunch of Konami costumes, so you could be like Simon Belmont Bomberman and stuff. But there was also like Xbox one, so you're like Master Chief Bomberman, or PlayStation, you're Ratchet and Clank Bomberman. So I'd be happy to see more of those costumes.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It's still not $60. Nice but
to me that seems like a good $40 game, you know. And even and even at that point, I'd probably still wait for a sale, just knowing me, you know. But like I said, I love the style. I love the characters and stuff. So I'm happy it's coming back.
Yeah. What's also coming back is Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection.
I didn't realize there were 10 of them.
I thought there was one game. So to learn there's 10.
Well, they sort of did the Pokemon
game on. They did, there's 2 versions. So
yeah. So there's
you don't need to turn on your Wii U to get these games anymore.
Did either of you like play any of these games back in the day or more recently?
I never played a Mega Man game in my.
No, well, I played Mega Man, but I've never played the Battle Network.
A spin-off one. I probably don't even think I might have even seen these in person or anything, even though I did have a GBA at the time of that being out. But I have, like I said, I'm interested in it, especially because like I haven't played this, but I've seen people play games that are based on that combat system, like One Step from Eden, things like that. And the physical collection is going to be the whole series, because I know when they did the Mega Man collection, it was like, oh, part 1's digital, or part, and the other part's physical, It was split, not all of them were on the same thing. Whereas this one, the digital is going to be like 2 separate volumes, like part 1 and 2, and then the physical, I guess, will come out when both are out, and it'll be all of them.
Yeah, I have never played any of these games either, but they always have sort of been like one of those. I'm surprised, like I didn't buy one of these back in the day, because back Game Boy DS kind of era, not picking up one of these, but I'm not going to get the full one, but I will likely. I mean, unless if they drop, and there's a ton of things going on game wise, like. I can't imagine in any world that I will ever play all of these. So one of the collections will be more than enough for me.
You just get the first collection and try the original ones.
Yeah, unless if I look and they say like, hey, the last one is the best one, and then be like, all right, well, I'll just get that, But I see myself getting one of these collections and at least giving it a whirl.
Mm-hmm. And the next few games we could probably skate through pretty quickly.
Whoa, hold the phone.
You Pac-Man, man?
Pac-Man World looks pretty cool, man. No? It didn't tickle your fancy?
No, there was no tickling on.
I said it depends on how much it costs, because I'm already considering not getting Klonoa, because Klonoa in Australia, the retail price is more than Xenoblades is. So.
Oh,
ay, caramba. Well, see, this game... I don't know. I thought it looked really good. Like, again, like, am I going to pay $60 for this? No. But this will also probably be a game that will go on sale,
pretty quick.
Not
like
that
3
long
weeks
after.
Later.
But it's got like a shoot 'em up. It's got a platformer. Looks like some side scrolling action. Like, I don't know. And I used to be a big Pac-Man guy back in the day. Again, it probably depends on price, but. I don't know. I thought that was one of the better trailers of a game I was like, didn't really think about ever too much,
Yeah. Next we got Blanc or Blank. I'm pretty sure it's
that
Blanc
looked
because
really
it's the French.
cute, but it's in that genre of co-op games that my husband doesn't like to play with me. Like he doesn't like stuff like A Way Out and those kind of games. So I don't think
Yeah.
I'm going to be playing it.
Yeah, it
Well,
looks super cute, but yeah, it's something I won't ever probably play. The
I think I
characters
played
are
too
really
many
nice.
of them too. Like I played Fee from the Swedish company there, Thunderful.
Yep.
And then there's been a couple of them kind of like that too that I've played where it's like, yeah, I've kind of had my fill of these types. Like I'm sure it's good, but
Yeah,
it's how much more can I get out of it kind of thing. Return to Monkey Island is pretty neat. That yeah, neat in the sense that like if you were a fan of those,
I said
I'm
it'd be
happy for you.
interesting
But
that they're doing a new one and not just being like, here's another remake or whatever.
yeah, like
well,
good
I
for
give them
them.
props for that.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like some of the character design like looks cool, like the pirates and stuff. But again, it's an adventure game, right? Like it's just no thanks.
And Ron Gilbert comes back, which is neat. So kind of
Yeah.
like when Sakaguchi makes games, it's kind of the same excitement level for people that
Rallies
they're
the
fans
troops.
of that.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I'm sure this was probably one of those announcements for people out there that love the original. Like, oh my god, like their heads exploded. But yeah, not for me.
Next up is we got the release date of October 20th for Sparks of Hope, which is yeah, I'm excited about that one. I surprised, like, man, that was such a surprise game for me when the first Mirror Rabbids came out. Like I probably would not have even have bought it. Well, actually, technically, I haven't given them money because I did the review for it. I certainly would not have given them any money initially, anyway, when it first came out, because like the Rabbids thing was like, who cares about this? And I couldn't believe how good it was. Like it was surprisingly good.
I didn't get very far in the first game. I think I got to a point fairly early on, and it was just like I was trying to look up how to get past a point, and it was like I was going to have to completely redo my entire skill trees to get past this boss battle. And I was like, I didn't like the idea of having to, it didn't seem like that kind of game, where there's certain games where you've got to like just go right into the menus and tinker around things to get through it. I didn't like that I couldn't, like that I had to go about it a specific way.
Yeah. I don't know. I really enjoyed that first one, and I'll never forget, right, that one developer when they showed it off, because right, Nintendo World Report was the one that sort of blew the door off that game, right, initially with the leak or
reveal.
whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember them like showing him, and like everyone was so pumped, and he was like in the crowd crying, because like the reception was so well. But it's just a game, like you could tell. I mean, the first one, of course, we're speaking of. Like, they put so much love and passion and care.
I liked how the environments looked. They're really cool. Like
yeah,
just all the details.
It felt like a Nintendo game, but also a Ubisoft game, and it worked. And this game looks super good. So,
did you play the DLC?
I did not, and it stinks because it was the Donkey Kong DLC, right? I love Donkey Kong, so I think it was one of those that came out, and there was other games going on, and I just sort of never got around to it.
I find that with a lot of DLC, it's like, ooh, or a pre-order with the type, but when it comes out, I'm like, this is not a good time.
Yeah, I'm sort of like, I want to beat a game, put a bow on it, and just sort of never think about it again, So most of the time, like
that's what I'll just wait for the gold edition,
Yeah, then you get if you're having a good time, you just keep on keeping on. But another October game, October 20th. So
packing up a lot.
It's a scary.
And they actually had. Did either of you check out the Ubisoft showcase today? I guess they did a deeper dive.
No, I wasn't staying up. That was like 1:40 a.m. So.
Oh geez, yeah.
And I had to be up at 8 a.m. for this. So.
Yeah.
I always forget.
But I think they confirmed all the composers that were working on it or something, because it was sort of floating on and off whether or not one in particular was part of it or not. Yeah.
But next up is Little Noah, Scion of Paradise.
That actually looks sort of cute.
It looks neat. I think
waiting to see what people say about it, to be honest.
I'm kind of saturated on roguelites, and
I saw someone did like a little post saying it's got some very light monster taming elements, like you don't keep them, but when you die, you can use bring some of the ones you found with you for the next run.
Oh, that's sort of cool.
Yeah, like I've been playing Returnal, and like I'm really digging the game, but then like the on the third run, I'm like, oh man, I'm already exhausted.
Well, I tell you what, it's funny because Alex was saying he really liked Returnal, but he didn't like, because the runs are so darn long. Once you beat a certain boss, you get something that lets you sort of go to this other area, and that's like the true roguelike element. It's like a tower, and like the levels are like you go level by level, and it's real lickety split fast, and that feels more like a true roguelike.
Okay.
So if you do unlock that, you
maybe I'll
might
stick
really
with it
like
then.
that.
Yeah, I was definitely like getting in there, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm in the mood for a roguelite right now. Like it just felt, I don't know, too much or
It's
whatever.
One of the couple like there wasn't many, but there was a couple like shadow drops for this direct, and I don't really like shadow drops because I don't.
You didn't plan accordingly.
Yeah, like some people have budgets to adhere to.
Yeah.
Some people already bought expensive Wii games, so they can't pick up some new Switch eShop games.
Shadow drops are dangerous though, because like they can. It's kind of like high risk, high.
I sometimes I just don't think it's necessarily a good idea, especially if it's like a little game that like no one's heard of. If it's some hype one, people might be able to scrounge the money for it. But there's certain games, especially the indie games in Australia, can be like $37.50 or like $45 even, and it's like some of them, and it's like, or you can't be surprised that your most important sales, which is usually the first week, isn't that good when you didn't give people any warning about it.
Yeah.
The best shadow drop I think of all time was Rhythm Heaven Megamix. I remember that came out. I was like, "Oh my god!" That was the quickest $40 I ever spent.
I think Cuphead was a shadow drop on Switch, wasn't it?
I think I got a code for that.
But then Cuphead was established already, though, so I don't know if you can really compare them. Yeah.
The DLC comes out soon, doesn't it? I think it got delayed again.
I can't remember, but I know like the most recent examples. But I think like Axiom Verge 2 was one that shadow dropped after an indie thing, things like that.
Yeah, I think people knew it was coming though. Like, cause that's a little bit different too. Because I think there was a lot of people waiting for it, and I remember the shadow drop, but I think people were still waiting.
Whenever the indie presentations are announced, I'm like, hopefully it's like before I get paid, so I can just like wait and see if there's. Just hold on to this, so there might be a game to pick up.
You should email that or put it in the next Nintendo survey. I want all directs to be the day after pay.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Railgrade, which is a management sim for railway systems. Looks kind of neat if that's your thing.
I tell you what, I think that game looks cool. Now, am I going to buy it? I don't know. But I really, like, it looks super cool to me. I thought that, and especially when, like, all of a sudden when they zoom out and they got, like, 14 million trains zipping around.
Yeah, pretty detailed, for sure.
And I looked, I guess that's an Epic Games Epic Store game, because I was like, oh, I bet you that'd be a game on Steam for like $10.
Yeah, I'm guessing
but it's not on Steam.
No, it was probably like published by Epic. I'm sure somebody else developed it,
but they probably put it on their store only though.
Yeah, it'll probably be free at some point. Like sign up for our store and you can have it for free.
Yeah, that, like you said, if you're into sim, I like sim games, and this feels sort of like a different take on it. So this might be one. I think, did it say 2023?
This fall.
Just fall. That might be one of those ones where, like, if it ends up being like $20 or less, and I've got nothing else going on, like, might dip my toes in there.
Yeah. Next we got Sonic Frontiers, which again, I'm not too worried about this one. Even if I had any interest whatsoever in this, I'd be getting it on a different console. Like
it's gonna be so bad.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna and I get what they're doing. They're like, look at this big beautiful world, and then you're gonna get in there and you're gonna be like, oh my god, it still is Sonic. It's still Sonic, guys, even if it looks cool. Real quick, though, you did skip over RPG Time, The Legend of Right.
Oh, I must have.
I wrote it in there because you skipped over.
I saw RPG Time and I was like, are there RPGs coming up? What does this mean?
It's a game that's already released on Xbox, but now it's coming in August to the other platforms, and it's like the hand-drawn one, so it's like this kid's little notebook.
He made his own RPG in the notebook, so they're like, it's 200 pages of adventure kind of thing.
Yeah, so that's
Okay.
really cool.
Looks super cute. Again, probably not something I end up picking up, but I mean, it is. Yeah, it's like hand drawn, pencil drawing.
It was.
And yeah, it
Was it
looks super
free on
cool.
Game Pass? I can't
I
remember if
don't
that
think
was one
so.
of the Game Pass ones or not. but-
It seems like it would be potentially a good game, like a free Game Pass game. You know, like hey, people try this
Yeah.
cool game out. You know.
Yeah. Now you're not a Sonic fan, are you, Paige?
No, although I do have a code for like when Colors Ultimate came out, so I'm gonna be talking about that on my channel soon.
You monster.
Yeah. I know I got like
Kate, that must be one of those grenades that you take for when you really want a good game.
Yeah. I'll grab Sonic Colors, but you got to put me pretty high up on the Xenoblade Chronicles list.
Yeah, that's right.
It was it's like from I don't know because like now I held on to it for too long, so I don't think I'll get anything from them. But it was like there's this company that does publish like give a lot of the Atlas stuff to Australian people, so I was trying to like see if I could get Sega and stuff. So I was trying to see if I could get Monkey Ball and that, but I didn't do my Sonic video in time, so I don't know if they'll talk to me.
Yeah, Monkey Ball is one of those games too, right? Like I would love to play it, but I don't want to pay for it.
Yeah.
So you gotta petition Sega for more Game Pass, and then you don't have to.
Yeah.
Sega couldn't pay me money to play Sonic Frontiers. They could be like, here's a copy and here's $200. I'm like, guys,
I'm
no,
good.
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never been. I've tried to play a couple Sonic games, and I'm like, I don't know how anyone enjoys this crap.
Yep. I even bought, I forget what it's called now. Pretty shortly after the Switch came out. It was really it held in high regard as far as the Sonic game goes.
Yeah.
Mania, yeah, that's it, right? Like, and it looked and sounded awesome, but the gameplay, it is what it is, you know.
Yeah, just don't like it.
So yeah, I was like, oh, I'm gonna start with a 3D game because like I just don't understand the 2D games, and then Sonic Colors is a mix of 2D and 3D, so
they were trying to wean you back into the real bad gameplay.
Yep.
And speaking of real bad gameplay,
Disney Dreamlight looks pretty rough. Oh man.
Well, it's releasing in early access.
Yeah, that was weird.
That's so like, is it a free to play game? Is it early access and pay $30 first? Like,
yeah, is this the beta? Are we bug testing this?
Maybe it's we can't get this game fixed, so we'll just stick it out there and see if people would be silly enough to pay for it.
Well, I said it's very Mickey much for the Disney adults because you can see like the characters that look like adults and they're wearing like their flannel shirts.
Flannels.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was saying the other day. I was like, it feels weird. Like, it make me more cartoony looking, if anything. Make me look like a Disney character, not just like a regular old person plopped in there. But I do like how sad they made Scrooge McDuck and then Mickey Mouse look like 1-to-1. And I was like, oh, help them get their memories back.
I want to see someone like, because I never played the Magical Kingdom games either, because like one got ported to Switch, but it was just like, I'm not paying $90 for that. Get out of here. I want to see the review comparison between that, and I bet the 3DS game might somehow be better because it's not in early access for one thing.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, to see a Nintendo like game released in early access, or a game on a Nintendo
Disney
console early access,
game released in early access.
Well, this was one of the games I was zooming through, and when I saw the Disney characters for a second, I'm like, is this some kind of Kingdom Hearts game? What the hell?
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 5.987
Kingdom
Cloud
Hearts
Edition.
Streamlight Valley in mobile and episodic format.
It's like, no, if you want to know what's going on in the story, you have to play The Sim.
Oh, God help us all.
Yeah. And then we got the Retro Square Live Alive. So we
Live Alive.
Live Alive. I don't know. Was there any new information that was given?
The demo dropped.
Right. Okay.
That was the new.
I was trying to think of what.
Treehouse did a gameplay video because I was like, that was one thing. Not that I watched that because I was like, I'm gonna just play the demo. But one thing I missed about not having the E3 Nintendo is like they usually would have, here's our big new game, and now here's a Nintendo Treehouse live stream of the gameplay. So the closest thing we got was some Live Alive gameplay.
Is that all the Treehouse ended up showing?
I think so, yeah.
Oh man.
See, it's weird. I know this game is pretty hyped up, and I was sort of lukewarm on it just because, right? Like, what's there, 7 or 8 characters and different stories, and I was like, I just don't know if I'm gonna want to play this for what will probably be like a bajillion hours. But I'm looking on how long to beat.
It's not not a long one.
Yeah, the 1994 ones. I mean, it's got sort of they indicate, I guess, purple is sort of like it's not like a lot of sort of times curated, but it's had 18 and a half hours to main story it. So if it's closer to 20 hours, then suddenly I'm far more interested. Because
I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's a week before Xenoblade and Digimon Survive. How am I going to have time for it? It's like, well, you might actually have time for it.
Yeah, no, that to me, if this is 20 hours, like I said, my interest level has skyrocketed. I just figured each story would be 5 hours, and also, then all of a sudden they'd come together and it's another 10 or something crazy. But I'm going to try out the demo for sure. And again, it's one of those demos that sort of carry over to the final game. So I'm definitely going to check that out. Did you get to play any of it yet, Paige?
No, but I will soon.
Which one are you starting with? You've got what's it? Feudal
sure.
China.
Edo of Japan. I actually wanted to start in with the caveman, Imperial but he's China. Not in the demo. So I wanted to go like from the past to the future, like just like that, like full history
chronologically.
Yeah, but I can't do it with the demo. So.
Yeah, I'm going to probably check out Twilight of Edo, Japan first and go from there.
Be the ninja.
But yeah, I really want to play a 2D HT game that doesn't stink on ice,
Yeah.
He's not here to defend his game.
Well, that's my because like I'm pretty sure this was a game that was because have the multiple characters converging and so it's like stories. It's like I wonder if I thought Octopath was sort of vaguely inspired by this. So it'll be interesting to see that this is probably better, maybe.
Well, I don't know. Did the characters talk to each other in this game? So how inspired could it be?
Isn't that so funny? Oh, what a dumb game.
Next up, we got I don't even know how to pronounce this. Doraemon. Story of Seasons. I just saw Story of Seasons and thought, okay, Paige probably liked this one.
Well, this is like the Harvest Moon game now, right?
Yeah. So basically, the Harvest Moon series was Bokujo Monogatari, so like ranch story in Japan, and then Natsume did the localization for a while, and then they were like, no, we're getting we're getting in-house like Marvelous to do it for us, but Natsume had the trademark to Harvest Moon, so any games after A New Beginning that are called Harvest Moon are not connected to the actual series. They're just going, hee, we have the trademark, we're gonna sell games.
Yeah, we're gonna poach the uninformed money.
Yeah, the Story of Seasons is the mainline series. And Doraemon
this game looks super cute though.
Yeah, Doraemon Story of Seasons Friends of the Great Kingdom is actually a sequel because there was already a Doraemon Story of Seasons game. I didn't play a lot of it because the mining system in that game was terrible. It was sort of like some of the older games where it's like you save scum because there's only one hole to go down to the next floor, so you like save scum to find where the hole is and then go down, and that's taken like 5-10 minutes because it's so slow. And like I couldn't make progress without it was just like I'm not playing it, like it's but hopefully they fix that because the game I just say that one thing because it's you're playing as like Nobito or Nobita I think you're a kid, so there's no romance in this one, and I like having my little trophy wife or husband in these games. So you have one less point of goal.
Well,
but I do love the art style is beautiful watercolor. That's one thing I liked about the game, like the last Doraemon Story Seasons, was just how beautiful it looked. It was like this really soft watercolor, and I do find a lot of the 3D farming games can look really off, so I like when they have an actual nice art style. And this one has co-op, like it's in local co-op, which the Story of Seasons series has never had actual proper co-op multiplayer. So it's good to see that like Stardew was kicking the pants of the original series and trying to get them to actually do some different things, like having some
Pushing them out of their
local
comfort
multiplayer.
zone.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. And it was saying like those giant turnips, so you need 2 people to pull it. So that way, it's like, yeah, if you're in co-op, you're just already there to pull the giant turnip out of the ground.
Yeah, it looks, like you said, I love the art style. It looks,
Yeah.
especially that one shot in the trailer when it's like the windmill and you sort of see like the mountains and sky and stuff. I haven't played a true Harvest Moon style game in quite some time. So it just said this year, right? It didn't give a date.
Yeah, just this year.
So
And that's coming
hopefully it's not in
both
October.
PC and PlayStation as well. Yeah, hopefully.
Also on your list here, David, I know you're eager to get into Dragon Quest, but is it this? Never mind, it might be. Oh yeah, no, Minecraft Legends.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they
Maybe.
didn't show a lot of that at all. Like it's kind of a very quick bit, and then it was like, I'm still not even sure entirely what the game is based on, like the actual reveal, where it was like, is this regular RTS? Is this city building plus RTS? Like, which is it? And then in the direct, they barely showed anything of it. So
I will say though, the Minecraft games have come a long way, because I remember looking like back when it really blew up, right? I was just like, this game is ugly, man. Like, ugh. But like this, like it, I like they made those voxel graphics and like it looks really nice.
They're taking their mountains of cash and doing something with it.
Which is good. Yeah, reinvest it, and I like that they're pushing it into all sorts of different kind of genres and stuff. Again, probably not a game I'll end up playing, but it definitely looks nice.
Jump into Casey's game of the direct. I'll just nail a few out of the way here. No Man's Sky, we knew it was coming to Switch. I'm assuming that the only real information we got out of this is just the confirmation of the release date, which is October 7th. We got some cloud version of Plague Tale, so we don't really care. Boo, cloud.
Yeah.
But that's coming on October 18th. Portal, I feel like we knew that the Portal was coming, and I think the only real reason that we saw it was because it was another shadow drop.
And then there was also one game shown in the sizzle reel, Captain Velvet Meteor, which looks like some little tactics game
with a great name.
Yeah,
I guess that's like a Shonen Jump thing, right, or something, right? It's Captain Velvet Meteor, the Jump Plus Dimensions. I don't know. Alex was talking about it the other day, and I think it's based on some sort of popular franchise or something.
Let me see.
I could be speaking out my back end here, but I don't know.
It brings Jump Plus manga heroes. Okay, yeah. I guess it is.
Yeah, so it might have like a real big fan base somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't recognize any of these characters, though.
So not on this podcast, anyway.
I'm
trying to... Okay, Jump Plus, what's that? Yeah, Shonen Jump Plus, which is the online... Okay, so yeah, we wouldn't... It's like the Shonen Jump web series characters in a game together.
So it's for the real big nerds out there, huh?
Yeah.
All right, we got three left, I would say. Three big ones.
You mean 5?
I added one.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yeah. Technically 5. How about we start with the one you were excited with, Casey? Dragon Quest Treasures.
Ooh-wee. Oh, this game looks amazing. I can't wait. Dragon Quest, right? Like getting some Pokemon vibes with your little party there.
Jordan wasn't here to tell us, because it looks like it might be a Dragon Quest Monsters style game.
Yeah, I can. It just looks so good.
Monster
I was
Pie
hoping it would like have this kind of look to it. Dragon Quest is so good. I like the idea, right? You're just going out, getting treasure, bringing it back, getting fat amount of money for all your items. Like in the millions, like making you feel good.
It's like Pikmin 2.
Yeah. I wonder, like, just how much, like, is it going to just be like hey, just go out there, it's super grindy in a good way, just going out and hunting. But it's also cool, right? Like, they showed you could, like, sort of fly over gaps with the help of different monsters, or you could, like, you could mount on some to traverse quicker. They got you bouncing off slimes and stuff. So
Actually, I think it's not related to this, but it was so funny. Because when I played Dragon Quest VIII, I landed on the wrong side of one of the Western continent, so I totally missed something. Because there's a place where you can get those cheetah looking, I forget what they're called in Dragon Quest, but those cheetah looking monsters as a mount. So I beat the whole game before I found that out. And I'm like, oh my god, I could have been so much faster.
Son of a gun, yeah.
But yeah, because the Dragon Quest Monsters games are kind of expensive or hard to get. Not all of them are in English, so it's good to get a new one that's like that. And they've gone with Eric from Dragon Quest XI and his sister as kids, I guess, to try and just get people who are interested in Dragon Quest XI to purchase it rather than having a new protagonist. That's December, sense. So I will actually be getting that game. That'll be my Christmas game probably.
Yep, December 9th. Yeah,
not too many things have a December release date yet, so that's the one that's locked in. Yeah, it looks really
I always
cute.
like a good early December game to sort of get you through the holidays, right?
Yeah. And yeah, so hope if they can give us Dragon Quest treasures, they can give us Dragon Quest X offline. Okay. That's not too much to us.
Well, that would be cool. That would be real cool. Or better yet, bring it online, you monsters.
Yeah, that's but I feel like the offline, there's your excuse for not translating it gone away. Come on.
I wonder, can you do a VPN and I guess you could probably.
People do, but they constantly have to change things around because it's very it's very
and
hard
you probably
to
have the worst latency ever.
Probably.
But yeah, I would love to check that game out, but I guess I'll just have to move to Japan.
Yeah.
I think we should end on Final Factory. So maybe we'll go on with we got the Personas. I think the wind was taken out of the sail on this. On this, we got one more thing for you, and it's the thing that Sony said they were giving us.
Yeah, so. The thing that Atlas tweeted about 1 minute before.
Yeah, and 2 of the 3 games have no actual release date. They'll just be, one day we'll get to it.
But it is good that they're doing a physical release for these ports as well.
Yeah.
For 5. For 5 Royal, I don't know about. I said what they should do is put Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 4 Arena Ultimax as a triple pack, but that would be smart, so that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Get out of here with that logic. I was just waiting for it to be Persona 5 finally coming to the Switch, base edition,
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
The Royal edition. And that's what I was seriously waiting for. Of course, they give the
Joker is finally allowed in Smash. He's justified now.
Yeah, he's finally earned his stripes.
He's like Cloud. He's finally come onto the Switch, so now probably and not a spin-off. So
it'll probably be a full price game too. And I just saw it in GameStop for $10.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, 60 bones.
But all that DLC costs a lot of money, and it comes with all that DLC. So.
So it might be $70.
Especially, I think the thing that annoyed me about the Royal DLC, the Royal version, you got the base game's original DLC, and then they had a ton more DLC. But you had, for the new character, Kasumi, you had to purchase her DLC in a separate bundle. And I'm like, okay, maybe you do that for the old DLC that was free just because you want to charge money, but even if I bought, say, the Persona Q costumes, I wouldn't get her costume unless I bought her bundle. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense because this DLC only came out for this game. So why isn't she just in that DLC package?
It's because they know Persona fans are crazy. They'll double dip or whatever they got to do.
They want that money.
And plus, you get all
But-
your broken personas because you'll get all the free personas.
Like I won't be purchasing any of these, but I'm happy for the people who haven't been able to play it yet because they're definitely worth playing.
But
Yeah,
I
I
was
think for
saying-
me, I already played 3 and 4, so there's no way I would do that. And then 5, again, it'd be one of those. I've played a bit of it. I need to replay this game, or
You
really
just need to find
play
100
it.
hours.
Well, yeah, that's the only reason that's stopping me. It's like I know I'm gonna love it. I know it's a really great game, and like I said, I've played. I don't remember exactly how much. I'd guess around at least 20 hours. So like barely any. But it's one of those. Why wouldn't I just get it for PlayStation? You know, because it's going to be way cheaper and it's probably going to run better.
Yeah.
But and if it wasn't coming out in October, it might have been one of those like, well, everyone's or not everyone, but a lot of people are going to be playing this for the first time. Like maybe a great time for me to jump in myself to sort of be part of that conversation. Again, probably play it on the PlayStation, but October seems like it's filling up real quick.
I said
Yeah,
this,
there's a lot going on.
this is possibly my late night feeding game. This
Yeah.
like I've
Well,
only,
especially a game that you
I've only
played
played
before
the
too.
original Persona 5, so I hadn't played Royal yet. I do know pretty much what happens because my husband played it last year. But
Isn't it just a lot of like sort of like Morgana makes you go to bed a lot earlier in the original base game, and then like
they
in Royal
added a
they
new
sort of fix that
character. They've added an entire like extra
social link.
semester. Yeah, they've added more than one character, but like they've added one extra party member. They've changed what happens with one particular character, and then they've added like an extra big chunk of the story, like towards the end.
Mm. So definitely,
and
yeah,
then
worth
a
the
bunch
effort.
They've
of
improved
gameplay
the battle
improvements.
system too.
Yeah. Yeah, like unlimited, like the ammo recharges between fights, stuff like grapple hook. Like they've reworked, like there's all that reworked, but there's also story wise there is a bunch of extra stuff.
Yeah. Like it's definitely a
you
huge
can't
improvement.
you can't choose the Reaper with the flu season anymore, so
Yeah.
I'll have to play the game properly.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge improvement. Like the localization and a whole lot of things.
I think the only reason you would say to someone to play the original is that they really want to play Strikers, and that's a sequel to the original. It doesn't include any of the Royal story characters or anything, or because they got it for like free or something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just play Royal.
There's a few things on this list. I don't know, Paige, if you want to go through those before we get into the final game.
So in the Japanese direct, there was Ultra Kaiju Monster Farm, which is the Monster Rancher series. So that has been confirmed for an Asian release, meaning we might get like at least English subtitle version. So it's a Monster Rancher game, but they are big monsters. They are kaiju. They're big giant monsters, and you're like some little alien guy in a straw hat. I didn't pick up the Monster Rancher re-releases because it was like $45 Australian for the two. But I am very interested in this one. So like this one, even if it is about that same price for a new one, maybe I'll... I like big monsters and I do want to try out one of these games. So I don't know if you guys saw anything about that.
No, not me.
No.
And then again in the Japanese direct, the Sizzle Reel had Grim Grimoire Once More, which is a Vanillaware PS2 game getting a remake, like a little remaster. No English release date is confirmed for that yet, but hopefully we get it. And I just said, yeah, why? Like, we've put 13 Sentinels on Switch, now give us the rest of your catalog. Give us all of them.
Yeah. As soon as you said Vanillaware, I was like, okay, I want to play whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is. Just make it English so I can play it.
The PS2 copies cost too much. I like it'll be cheaper, even if it is a $90 game.
Well, they got a bunch of PS Vita games that I wish I could play on a bigger screen. So,
and then something that wasn't in the direct, but was finally actually confirmed for a Western release, is Shin-Chan, Me and the Professor on Summer Vacation: The Endless 7-Day Journey, which is there's this Japanese-only series called Boku no Natsuyasumi. And that's like My Summer Vacation, basically, where it's just a really cute little life sit where you just, you're on summer vacation, you catch some bugs, just your little boy just doing some of those fun, basic Japanese summer day activities. But this is your Crayon Shin-Chan, which is like a kids show although I've seen there's an adult spin-off as well, but and there's dinosaurs in this one, so I'm happy that the series is getting an English release for once. And that's August as well. So I think August for me is that game and RPG Time.
Cool.
Nice.
Well, that's a great title of the game.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we'll finish up with my
With
standard game
David,
for.
I was going to say David's game of the direct.
Yeah, Rune Fantasy, or better known as Harvestella. So this is I guess it's all I can say is it looks like Square Enix's answer to hey, what if you guys wanted to make something like Rune Factory? Because it's a kind of fighting, or it's a farming fighting
Farming
kind of
RPG.
simulation. Yeah, life simulation RPG. So it looks pretty neat. Like the farming looks neat. I'm a little concerned the farming might be a little basic, but I guess we never know. The story,
Crafting, right? All that
yeah,
stuff.
crafting. It looks like you'll go into dungeons and fight enemies and stuff, but it seems like it has a pretty elaborate story. Like they were showing. So the player character, I guess you could choose the gender, like if you want a male or female. And then there's like a scientist from the future that just kind of appeared in the village. And I think the scientists lost their memory or something, so she's not even really sure why she's in the village or something.
Classic RPG.
Don't trust her.
Yeah, exactly. Don't trust her.
No good.
You forgot.
And then there's a few other like warrior types in the village as well. So it looks like there's like lots of personality to the game.
I'm interested in the death season. Like I want a more hardcore game in this style, like, because it's like, oh, so when the seasons change, there'll be a season where you can't leave the village and can't grow anything, and it's like, so how prepared, how resourceful do you have to be when you can grow stuff?
So that looks pretty neat. You can't even leave your house. Like it's you have to stay indoors.
Cyclone weather.
Yeah, it definitely looks beautiful, and yeah, that was my first thought. It's like, oh, this is definitely a Rune Factory style game, right? And I haven't played a Rune Factory game in a really long time. Because I feel like sometimes, right, when they try and do like a little bit of both, they both sort of like you said, they both sort of feel shallow, and it's like you don't really get one aspect of the game that really stands out. But
jack of all trades, master of none.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so I'm hoping maybe Square. They've been doing pretty good, so hopefully this is sort of lives up to the standards here. But yeah, it's sort of interesting, right? First time we're hearing about it, and it's coming out on November 4th. So from announcement to
that has me
launch.
A little worried. It's like we're only hearing about this now. It comes out in November. Is this one of those games where it's like the people inside Square were playing the game and they're like, man, this game sucks. Let's just throw it out there.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's just one of those where it's like it's got a market, but not or a target audience, and it's just maybe one of those, hey, instead of announcing it a year and a half or a year early, and then maybe the people pass it, sort of casually interested in it, forget about it, where it's like, hey, we announce it, and then in 2 months they're going to start ramping up the advertisements and stuff, so it like never really leaves the front of your mind, and then it's out and you could drop your money on it.
It'd be funny if it was made by like the small team was tasked to making it, and the management team like didn't even think they would get it done or something. And it's like
crud.
Yeah, they come in like, here's our game, and they're like, oh, this is good. What?
Fingers crossed. Yeah, I don't know.
I guess we better publish this.
It's definitely to me it looks promising. So
yeah.
Well, no kissing has been confirmed for this game yet, though. So we'll see.
Paige is on the fence then.
Yeah.
Paige needs more information.
Yeah.
If I don't have some like mermaid to marry and I have to keep her in my duck pond in my house, and if a cyclone happens, she disappears until I build another duck pond, like, is it really a game worth playing?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get more information about it before November 4th, but yeah, we'll see. Man, this is one of our longer episodes in a while. We're pushing on the 90 minutes, and Jordan's not even here to take us out. So I don't even remember the last time I did the outro.
You got to give your best shot here.
I'm just going to pass the buck and say, hey, Casey, you haven't plugged your podcast in a long time. Maybe this is a good time to remind people of the podcast that you're also on, that I know everyone here would be happy to listen to.
Sure, yeah. I do a weekly podcast focused on Nintendo, although there's been quite a bit of non-Tendo as well, so you sort of get a little bit of everything. But Talk Nintendo podcast releases every Thursday. Haven't missed an episode since 2016, and by that, it's when we started. We haven't missed an episode ever. And we just recorded 303, so it's Perry, myself, and Alex, and it's usually a pretty good time. We talk games, we talk some news, throw in a couple wacky segments every now and then, and you can get it on your podcatchers everywhere.
Yep. And Paige, what I know you've been working on some stuff for your channel, and you're over at the RPG site as well, but anything in particular you'd like to plug?
Yeah, I think it's been a while since I've been on here to talk about the stuff I've done in the last few weeks. So I just did my own direct video. I did a video talking about Mario sports games. I finally reviewed Cupid Parasite and reviewed Dawn of the Monsters, all on my YouTube channel, which is Paige G Guy. And RPG site, I'll be doing something to do like the demo on Live Alive. So that it won't be out when this comes out, but it'll be soon.
Cool. Well, I think by passing the buck, I successfully managed to nail the outro. So, yeah, I'm happy with myself. I've been sticking
the Patreon.
Oh yeah, I could plug the Patreon. So yeah, if you like what you hear, there's some extra episodes that you probably haven't heard over at patreon.com/thethirstymage. We've got some a podcast that we've got, I think, about 8 or 9 episodes on there, and one day we'll add some more to it. You also get the episodes in advance. So right now it's a few days in advance, but once we get a couple more banked, it'll be at least a week in advance going forward. So if you'd like to support the podcast, you can head over to patreon.com/thethirstymage. And then there's also the website, which has slowed down a bit just because we've been focused on the podcast and stuff. But I will have a review going up by the time, I guess, the day that this comes out publicly. The review for said game will be live. So you can head over to thethirstymage.com to read about... I don't know if I should give it. It's a visual, sort of like a visual novel. That's about all I can say. It's being published by a company that I owe much to and have to keep happy. So, longtime listeners will know who that is right away. So, I'll just leave it at that. But I want to thank everyone for listening and thank Casey and Paige for joining me tonight. And we'll see everyone else out next week at the next Thirsty Mage. Bye.
Bye.
Adios.